So now, before giving you the example, let me add one formula to it, to the one I've given you, which is what? The interest rate formula or the effective rate of interest. So now, the interest rate formula, interest rate is denoted by small I. So, and this is equals to the interest end. So, this is equals to what? The interest end all over what? Accumulated value at the beginning of the period, which is what? AVT. So which this is what? This is the formula for our what? For our what? Interest rate. Now this, from we can still derive an additional formula for it. We already know the formula for what? For interest end. We've already known the formula for interest end, and we said interest end is AV, that is the accumulated value at the end of the period, which is AVT plus S. Sorry, what's wrong with this? So accumulated value, which is accumulated value at the end of the period, which is AVT plus S, minus accumulated value at the beginning of the period. So accumulated value at the beginning of the period is what? Is AVT. So now all over what? Accumulated value at the beginning of what? Of the period, which is what? AV. So we have our T. So this is the formula for what? For interest rate. Now let me give you an example. So the example, let me copy from here, from my notepad, and paste. Now the question is, you deposit $1,000 into a savings account. 1 year later, the account has accumulated to $1,050. What is the principal in this investment? What is the interest earned? What is the annual interest rate? Now, solution. Now, solution to A. We are asked, what is the principal in this investment? So we know the principal is the initial amount what invested. So you know, in your savings accounts, when you deposit 1,000, when you deposit any money, interest, there's what? Additional interest on it as time goes on. So now let's consider this as an what? As an investment. So the initial amount invested is what? Is the amount deposited. The initial amount was deposited, which is what? 1,000. So our principal is equals to what? 1,000. So B, question B is, what is the interest earned? I gave you a formula. I said interest earned don't mind me, interest earned is equals to accumulated value at the end of the period, which is what? AVT plus S, minus accumulated value at the beginning of the period, which is what? AVT. So our AV subscript T is this. No, small letter, I'm sorry. So it is small letter, not capital letter. Do you understand? So AVT. Now let's move on. So from this question, we've already known our principal, which is the initial amount invested, to be what? To be what? AVT, which is what? $1,000. And our accumulated value at the end of the period, which is AVT plus S. Our AVT plus S is what? $1,050, which is our what? Amount invested. So now this is what? The amount value. Our AVT plus S is the what? Amount value. So here our interest earned will now be 1,050 minus 1,000. So this is equals to 50. So our interest earned is what? Is 50. So now to see, we are told what is the annual interest rate. So, and I said our annual interest rate, which is denoted by I or with I, is what? Our interest earned, let me put it like that, is our interest earned all over what? Accumulated value at the beginning of the period. So our accumulated value at the beginning of the period is what? AV subscript what? Subscript T. So now this is equals to, what is our interest earned? We've already calculated our interest earned to be what? 50. So this is what? 50, no, sorry. So this is 50 all over 1000. So when you press your calculator, 50 over 1000, I'm pressing mine now. So 50 over 1000 divided by 1000 is equals to 0.05. 0.05. So it's equals to 0.05. So our interest earned is what? 0.05. Or when you multiply your 0.05 by 100, you've converted it into what? Percentage. So this will give us 5%. So just these are arrive at my 5%. 0.05 multiply it by 100. If you multiply this 0.05 multiply this by 100, you arrive at your what? 5%. So this is just the basics of what? Interest. So just know your formula, the formula I've given you, then apply it. So any question you are what? You are giving. So I'm giving you a question now, a question to solve. So I'll be giving you a question to solve later on. So let me see. Let me check my notepad. So I'm giving you a question to solve now. Then you have to submit in the next, let me say 10 minutes. So this is your question. Classwork. So this is your classwork. So your classwork is this: you invest $3,200. You invest $3,200 on January 1st. Wow. So this is your classwork. I'm coming. I think there's a problem. I'm having a small issue. So let me just do it like this. Let me delete this. Ctrl S. Got it. So now this is your classwork. You invest $3,200. So now you invest $3,200 in a savings account on January 1st, 2004. On December 31st, 2004, the account has accumulated to $3,294. So that is what? That is, so you are asked what is the annual interest rate. So this is your question, and you have to submit in the next. This is your question. So you have to submit in the next. Oh wow.